In order to have good days, you got to have bad days. And reminding yourself that this is temporary and that another wave is going to come and you have the ability to just ride this wave. You don't have to gaslight yourself into positivity. You can just allow yourself to be sad.
The Mercedes-Benz Interview Lounge.
Mel Robbins, right here. Thank you for dropping by. I know you're the busiest person in show business.
Oh, that's not true.
I think you are.
No, I'm not. I live in Vermont. I am not the busiest person in show business.
Well, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
We're so excited that you're here.
Thank you.
It's a dream come true, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to butter your biscuit anymore.
Ooh, that sounds very sexual.
Your biscuit's buttered. Okay, let me bring you up to speed.
How do you know what I did this morning?
The #1 New York bestseller, The Let Them Theory, is out. And we're talking about a book that people in the publishing industry are saying may be one of the biggest selling books of all time.
Wow.
Which has got to freak you out just a little bit. Or do you believe it? Are they liars?
I actually believe it could be. It's a weird thing to talk about. It's like, there is no doubt this is my legacy.
This book.
This is my legacy. It's so, I can't believe I'm going to start crying again. I am so blown away by the impact it's making and the fact that people are interested in reading a book. You know what I mean? That is not helping you escape your life, but helping you turn toward your life.
Wow. Now I'm going to start crying.
Don't you think people need that right now so desperately?
Yep.
Yes. I feel, there are so many moments in your life where you're going to feel impatient and where you're going to feel like you're not quite sure where things are going. And I know over the past 16 years in particular, I've certainly felt that way. And what has happened with this theory and the way it's spread around the world is I now can look back and go, oh, all of those reps you were putting in, all of those days you got yourself out of bed, all of those days you didn't quit, all of those times you kept going, even though you got fired or that didn't work out or you didn't think it was going to happen, or all the times that you felt frustrated, like, why isn't it happening faster? It's because you were being held for this moment. And I really believe that, there are two skills that I would love to talk about today that have made a huge difference in my life that anybody can learn. And one of them is being able to be in the present moment, no matter how hard life may be, how overwhelming it is, and believe in a bigger possibility for your life. It might not happen this year. It might not happen for 10, or in my case, 16 years. But if you can stand in the present moment and really say to yourself, this is not how my story ends. I choose to believe that even this difficult moment I'm facing is teaching me something. And 10 years from now, 15 years from now, I'm going to look back on this and know exactly why this was part of the story. And my job is to double down on my belief that I can see myself through anything and that I can remind myself that life is always teaching me something and that there is something bigger in store for me on the road ahead. And so I've already forgotten what the question was that you asked me. Sorry.
Before we roll off of this, I want you to go back for a second.
Yep.
You said there were two things you want to talk about today in just one sentence for each.
Okay.
The first one was?
The first is that, number one, it is a skill in life to learn how to make yourself do the things you don't feel like doing. Like, if you only did the things you don't feel like doing, you'd have everything you've ever wanted. Motivation is complete garbage. Stop sitting around waiting for it. It's not coming. Nobody's coming to save you. You have everything you need inside you. That's not some sort of Wizard of Oz gobbledygook woo-woo crap. The truth is, you have the ability to push yourself through anxiety, through depression, through overwhelm, through fear, through anything that is currently holding you back, and do the simple things that will change your life.
And what was the second? Do you remember?
Yes. And the second is teaching yourself how to believe in a bigger possibility that things are going to work out for you.
You know what you just did? you kind of screwed up a little bit because you gave us 2 great things. Then I asked you to do those 2 great things, and you gave us 2 extra things.
Did I? Wait, what were the 2 other things?
So you gave us 4
Amazing
wonderful
things. We got 2
things.
things for free.
Yeah. There you go.
They were saying, in essence, the same thing. But great. I just wanted people to hear those 2 things again because
Well, people always
Monumental.
ask me, how did you become Mel Robbins? And I'm like,
how did you become Mel Robbins?
by teaching myself how to get out of bed on those moments when the anxiety and depression was so crushing. And I felt like, what was the point?
Right.
And there's that one point in the book where you go, I walked into my friend's house and she had just renovated the whole
my
house.
God.
And you were
Hated
so
her.
jealous.
Yes.
And you were so and that's the point where I feel you were like, F this, I gotta do something.
Well, there's again, life is always teaching you something. So, for if you're listening and this is the first time that you're either watching or hearing my voice, my story began 16 years ago when we were $800,000 in debt and my husband's restaurant business was going under and I was unemployed at the time and we had 3 kids, 10 and under. And that was not the vision for my life. And what you will find is that it's easy to give other people advice, but when the what hits the fan in your own life, you get paralyzed with the fear that you're not going to figure it out. And that was me. And instead of doing what I knew I needed to do, which was get a job, stop screaming at Chris, get out of bed, get the kids on the bus, ask for help, I did the opposite. I drank myself into the ground and I would lay in bed like a human pot roast staring at the ceiling.
God, this sounds good.
Yeah. I wouldn't open the bills. They just kept piling up on the counter.
And it gets worse and worse.
And it gets worse and worse. And then you start to convince yourself there's nothing you can do. And that's a lie. There is always something you can do to improve even the worst of situations through your attitude, through your actions, and through the way you process your emotions. And this is not a new idea, by the way. This is Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. This is what's true about the human experience. And so I became the success that you see today due to 16 years of boring, grueling reps that I would put in every day that began with just get your butt out of bed on the mornings you don't feel like it.
Wow. Very simple, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 theory of the countdown.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something we're procrastinating about. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to do this. You got to be that rocket at Cape Canaveral that's about to take off. And once the countdown is done, down 1 and then blast off, you have no choice but to go to outer space. And it actually works. I've actually applied this to my life, and it works.
It's
when
crazy.
I first read that, I'm like, this is stupid.
Yes, I agree. It's so stupid.
#1 bestseller over this crap.
Yes.
It works.
It works.
Tell everyone what it's
So
all
the
about.
5-second rule is super simple. It's a hack you can use for instant courage or motivation. Any moment where you have this instinct that you should do something, whether it's speaking up at work or it's getting out of bed or it's putting the phone down and actually stepping outside for a walk, whatever it may be, just start counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You got to count backwards. Does not work if you count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 does not work because you've been taught to count up your entire life. So it's already recorded in your subconscious. The trick works because if you count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it requires a moment where you have to focus on the counting. And that pulls the front part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, online. So now you've just activated, it's like a little cheat code, the part of the brain that you need to change behavior or to be strategic or to actually push yourself to do something. You're now in control for a moment. And the other reason why it works is because it's like the first domino. Counting is an action. And if you've actually decided to count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you've already decided to do it.
So you're going to do
It's the first domino. Yeah, and then you move. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. Now, I didn't know any of this when I invented it. I invented it after having 4 bourbon Manhattans and seeing a rocket ship launch across a television screen.
Right.
And thinking, oh, my God, okay, it's a sign from God. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to launch myself out of bed. Yes.
Great ideas happen at the bar. I have no problem with that.
Well, I always say that, my expertise comes from being life tested.
Right.
Like when you're in that hole, there's a lot of things that you learn about life.
But that's the best part about the book is that you're so honest about that, where you're not just like shoving this information down people's throats. You're saying, okay, here's an example. This is what happened to me.
Yeah, totally. Like I am the villain in my own book, for sure. Like the person that, as you read the Let Them theory or you hear the stories from it, you're like, oh my gosh, old Mel was pretty awful. Jealous friend, immature, constantly taking her emotions out on her family. wow, this either reminds me of me or it reminds me of somebody in my life that I wish would change. And so I also think the success of this is because let them and let me is so simple, and it's a tool. You don't have to think about it. You just use it and it works. And also, this is a book that is largely about stories, but the stories are what translate the research.
But I'm sure from time to time you still throw sharp objects and
Of
get
course.
crazy. Okay, just making
course.
sure.
Very important.
I need to know that.
Oh my God, yes.
So when we were watching a TV show, we all count down to the finale. The end is so important. But it seems like from all the things that you're saying, it's not about the end. It's more about the beginning and getting started.
Yes.
So how can you, I know you're saying get out of bed, but for people who are just super sad and they're having a tough time that day, aside from get out of bed, what do you tell them?
So if you're having a tough day, the first thing I want you to understand is that it's sort of like waves in an ocean. In order to have good days, you got to have bad days. And reminding yourself that this is temporary and that another wave is going to come and you have the ability to just ride this wave. You don't have to gaslight yourself into positivity. You can just allow yourself to be sad. One of the things that is very helpful for me is to say things like, I'm sad because. I'm going to allow myself to be a little down today because. And the because is important because then sadness doesn't become your identity. You've identified the thing that makes you sad. And there are going to be times where being sad or heartbroken or down is a mentally healthy response to the things that are going on in life. And, the other thing that I would tell you is I do think the let them theory will help a lot, because if you find that you're at a point in your life where you're overwhelmed, you're struggling, you're worried, you're sad, you're tired, or you just are working very hard and nothing's clicking, the problem isn't you. The problem is that you unknowingly are giving so much of your power to other people, to what they think, to their expectations, to their moods, to the drama that's going on, to their beliefs. And when you give power to other people, you have none left for yourself. That's why you're tired. And so this book and the let them theory is actually about power and control. What can you control? What can you not control? Where is power and where are you giving it away?
Wow. The let them theory. There is actually a theory. There's actually sort of an easy to figure out outline to that. I want to get into that in a second. While Mel was writing this book with her daughter, they knew they had a hit already. They knew this thing was going to be big.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because it was excruciating to write this together. So I'm with my 25-year-old daughter who has never, it was like the one thing in life she didn't want to do was work for me. And she ends up it's a longer story, but she ends up needing money. And I'm like, hey, I've got this research project and I'm going to pay somebody. I might as well pay you. And she's like, all right, as long as I don't have to report to you. And I'm like, okay. And so she starts doing this research project because I had shared the let them part. And that's the first part of the theory. But the second part is let me. And what I asked my daughter to do, because she had spent 3 years working for a big cybersecurity firm in like kind of tech marketing. And so she's like a walking Excel spreadsheet. So she does this research project where I wanted her to go and look at all the comments online from the podcast and from some of the social media posts that we had put up, look at articles that were starting to get written about let them. And she came back and was like, you can't write this book. And I was like, why? And she said, well, everybody loves it, except for there's like this slice of people that are saying, let them feels good if it's making them lonely. Because when you say let them and you start to let people be who they are, they reveal that they don't make an effort, or they reveal that they treat you kind of poorly. And then you're kind of left sitting with, now what? My brothers and sisters don't reach out unless I do. My friends aren't checking in on me unless I check on now what? And she says, you can't put a book out that makes people lonely and kind of arrogant. And she said, there has to be a second part. And that was the genesis for Let Me.
Right.
Because you have to let them is when you stop worrying about other people's opinions and feelings and moods and making it your responsibility to make everybody else happy. And then you got to go, okay, but now what? Let me remind myself that my power is actually in how I think about things and what I do or don't do, and how I process my emotions. And so she is the reason why the let me part started. And then I was like, well, then we got to write this together. So now we have two totally different working styles. Like my brain is like, take a bunch of mice in a cardboard box and tip it over in a kitchen. And she's a walking Excel spreadsheet. Plus we're mother-daughter. We were like, I would come and be like, I want to write this story about my friends and being a jealous, jerk. And she's like, nobody my age cares about that story. And then we'd fight about it. And then we get mad. And then we'd both be like, let her. And then she would leave and go to a different room. And then I would leave as we'd get frustrated. And so we actually sorted through every aspect of the book. We argued over everything because she wanted to make it relevant to 20-somethings. I wanted to make it relevant, to kind of like a little bit older demographic. And the result was we argued over every word. And in fact, another incredible story is that when we wrote the love section, we're getting near the end of the book. There's 8 sections. Her boyfriend of 2 years, the one she thought that was going to be the end of the aisle, dumps her. She's like, I hate this theory. What am I supposed to do? Just let him leave? Let him sleep with somebody else? What? And so we wrote the breakup guide and using the let them theory as she was going through it in real time. And I got to say, it was incredible because she had to use let them to manage her emotions and the let me part. And I had to use let them and let her to give her the dignity of her own experience without wanting to solve it. Like, I wanted to text the other mom constantly. I wanted to reach out to him. Like, when she's like, one of the pieces of advice is nobody actually goes through the detox in a breakup. This is why you don't get over people. When you break off a relationship, what you don't realize is that you are neurologically and in your nervous system hardwired to be connected to this person. So for the first couple of weeks, when you think you hear them talking, that's not because they miss you. That's not because you should get back together. That's because your brain has patterns that have been encoded that it's just repeating. And if you've never gone 30 days without looking at a photo or listening to a voice memo or watching their social media profile, then you've never fully actually given your nervous system and your brain a chance to get over them. Every time you listen to a voice memo, every time you look at a photo, you reactivate that circuitry. It's just like an alcoholic who has a drink. And so you have to do this 30-day thing where you don't look at anything. You don't have to burn anything. You don't have to get angry. Put their stuff in a box. I had to go through the digital frame in the kitchen. Pause. Because I don't want to delete because I'm holding out hope, right? Pause. But I have to let her have this experience. And what's interesting is when you have somebody in your life who's going through something, it's so uncomfortable that you want to save them from it. If you can learn to give them a little space while you're standing on the sidelines in support, like, how would you like me to show up? What's interesting is you actually signal to somebody, I believe in your capacity to change. I believe in your capacity to move through this. And as a mom, it's been incredible to recognize that my innate desire to want my husband to change doesn't make him change. It also creates distance between us. Learning how to let him be who he is and forcing myself to accept and love him as he is. Like, that's a whole different way to be with somebody. It's they always, I heard somebody say once that second marriages are amazing, especially when it's with the same person.
Wow. Okay.
And when you change how you show up, you change the relationship. But we've always put the pressure on other people to change when actually you've got the power based on your energy and your attitude towards somebody. And creating space for somebody to be themselves is actually the best way to love them.
That detox thing is really tough with social media and your phone.
Yes.
Because you'll think you cleanse something, you're all good, and then your phone attacks you and says, look at you 1 year ago.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't want to see that.
Yep.
But when you were writing this, did you have any idea how many people were going to tattoo let them on their bodies? Because it's all I see everywhere.
Well, it's apparently because we went through the process of contacting every tattoo studio that you see in here and getting rights for it.
Really?
And every one of them were like, I got to tell you, this is the #1 tattoo that everybody.
It's everywhere.
Well, because seeing it, and I love seeing now the let me tattoos, because let them, when you say it, it's instant peace. Because you're reminding yourself this drama or this situation does not deserve to be stressing me out. My time and energy is worth protecting. So when you say let them, it's a boundary. And one thing to be very clear about is you're not allowing anybody to do anything. So a big mistake that people have about this is that, well, aren't you just letting them treat you like garbage? I'm like, no, they already are. You're explaining it away. When you say let them, you're erecting a boundary between yourself and the other person. And you're saying to yourself, okay, let them be who they are. Let them do what they're doing because their behavior is giving me data.
There you go.
Now I get to choose.
See, that's the thing. When I first saw the book and the title, without even reading the book, I automatically go to, well, let them. Let me just make an assumption what this is about. And I'm sure a lot of people thought the same thing. Let them. Okay, someone's going to say something really crappy about me. Someone's going to say something it's just not good. I'm just use foul language. Fuck. Okay, edit that out. Someone said something just really disrespectful to me, whatever. Okay, let them. Because what they're saying just doesn't matter. Well, I'm not giving them the power.
That's the point.
To mess with my power. So that was my assumption.
But here's the other thing.
That was my assumption before I picked up the book.
But here's the other thing. One of the things that you'll recognize when you start saying this, let them and let me, is that the one thing in life you have no control over is what another human being thinks, says, believes, does. No control. And so it is the biggest form of gaslighting to yourself to think that there is absolutely something you could do that would guarantee that somebody has a thought. And I'll give you an example. So if you think about your favorite social media app and you pull out Instagram, for example, and you are going to put up some photos, you put up a photo and then you put a filter on it, and then you change the photo, and then you finally find a photo, and then you start with the caption, and then you back up the caption, and then you put some emojis, and then finally you're so stressed and exhausted that you hit draft. And people have hundreds of drafts. Those drafts are your self-expression, the business marketing that you're holding yourself back from doing. Why do you do this? You're doing it because you think there's a particular post that you could put up that would make someone else have a particular thought. You can't guarantee that anybody is going to think anything based on what you do. In fact, we've all had the experience where you've bent over backwards. You go to some party you don't want to go to. You do it because you don't want people to be mad at you or you feel guilty. And then you get to the party and the host is kind of annoyed because you're not as fun as you normally are. And so even though you bent over backwards and you did this thing hoping that somebody would feel a certain way about you, it didn't work. There's a better way to live your life, which is let people feel what they're going to feel, think what they're going to think, follow you or unfollow you, misunderstand. Just let them because they're going to anyway. So why would you waste any time on it?
That's it. That's the power you get is just not letting them have any of your power.
I can't listen because I feel like I'm listening to you on Audible because that's how I read the book. And I know you do sidebars all the time. And I know it's different because you add things. But I feel like, that she's with me in the car right now.
You're getting more sidebars right now.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like it's my friend Mel.
It is your friend Mel. It is your friend Mel.
It's so crazy.
It's your friend Mel.
Yeah.
Mel Robbins, of course, the Let Them Theory. It's out, and I expect everyone listening to the sound of my voice to buy 14 copies because they're really decorative, these books.
Yeah.
I mean, they really are. It's more than just copy and things you can learn. You can actually decorate your house with this bright green thing, which I saw all over the beach. They designed this cover to show up on a beach.
Well, actually, I love that you said that because the color of it, we were told green books don't sell. And it's bad luck to do a green book. And it was inspired by Court of Thorn and Roses, book 2. I'm a big fantasy reader. And so my daughter and I were like, oh, we love the cover of book 2. Let's do green and yellow. And then we did it. And as we were designing it, I said to my daughter, this cover has to, if you're walking down the beach, you have to be able to go, oh, there's that book.
It's everywhere.
Yes.
In the airport, everywhere.
Oh, everywhere. I see it.
I have to say that, Jay Shetty's a good friend of ours. And also, I know that we love it when he comes in and our audience just soaks every second of Jay Shetty's message up like they're doing you right now. Jefferson Fisher, I've fallen in love with this guy. Mm-hmm. If you've ever seen him, he's usually in his car telling you how to cut people off when they're trying to F with your head. He's great. And I saw the podcast with the two of you.
Yeah.
Are there other people like that emerging that could be the next bestseller that we should be following? So I love to collect these incredible forces on my Instagram.
That's a great. Well, Jefferson is somebody who has come out of nowhere. I think
Jefferson Fisher's the name.
Jefferson Fisher, fantastic human being. I also love Dr. Julie. Do you know Dr. Julie from the UK?
Who's that?
Well, I love her because she's a psychiatrist or psychologist that uses all these models to explain different principles. So she'll like take out kids' toys and show you these intellectual concepts. And she's a mom of 3 kids. And when she flew over to be on the podcast, she brought her 3 kids, and it was just really fun. And we did all these things with physical models. So I really like her too.
Look at that.
Well, there's a lot of it. Like, look, here's my philosophy in life is that we're all on this giant walk on the road of life. And you can learn from anybody, because on the road of life, you know, you might be ahead of me by 3 steps because you've gone through something that I haven't. So you could help me. I might be ahead of you at another time because I've gone through something with, you know, my son, and now I can help you. You are best equipped to help the person you used to be. And I don't think that you need some fancy credentials or a New York Times best-selling book to make a difference in another person's life. I think we all have important stories to share, lessons that we can teach other people, things that we can learn from our lives. And if you look at everybody around you with the potential that you could learn something from them, it changes everybody's ability to lift each other up, and it changes your ability. Like if you're listening to this show right now in this conversation, it means you're the kind of person that actually wants to have a more meaningful life. And that's a really cool thing. And so you can be the next Jefferson Fisher. You could be the next person that does something online that really reaches somebody halfway across the world that really needed to hear it. Like there's 8 billion people on this planet. And so there's something about the way that you're going to say something that is going to reach somebody in a way that I can't, because my life experience is different than yours.
I'm over halfway through the book, and now I want to retread by listening to the Audible version.
Yeah.
I know I'm over halfway through the book because you're getting into friendships and how important they are. Our friend Barbara Corcoran was here the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Said,
She's a pistol, man.
She's one of my best friends. Barbara.
That checks, by the way.
I look at her, she's sitting in this she's sitting in this chair. I said, Barbara, you're almost 105 years old. What is it in life that you're loving the most? And she said, surrounding myself with the people I love, friends. And talk about that, because I think this is such an important, powerful thing people need to pay more attention to, and it's the people they surround themselves with.
Absolutely. Well, you know, I think it's easy to forget that this all ends the same way for all of us. Yeah. And at the end of your life, you're not going to be in a hearse that's pulling a U-Haul full of crap. And people aren't going to care much about your acknowledgments. Like if you do it right, you actually reflect on your life and you say to yourself, I am proud of the way that I used my time and energy, that I was a good boss, I was a good parent, I was a good friend. And if you do it right, you're surrounded by people that you care about who love you. And it's easy to get caught up, I know I certainly have, in the day-to-day or in chasing the next thing, that you forget that it's really about the people. And one thing that has helped me a lot with the let them theory is really understanding the nature of friendship. And, you know, if I can, I'd like to share something that is important for everybody to understand. In order to create friendships, 3 things have to be present: proximity, timing, and energy. That's it. Proximity, timing, and energy. And these factors have been proven by research. In order to be a casual friend with somebody, you got to spend about 70 hours. To be a good friend, you got to spend 200. And when we were little, from 0 to 20, we were around people our same age, going through life at the exact same time, celebrating the same milestones, the same vacations, the same everything. So you were in proximity with so many people your age. You were in the same timing of life because you were going through so many things together, and school set up the structure for it, to be around people all the time. And you could understand, okay, do I click? Do I not click with these people? Then you hit your 20s. And what I call the great scattering happens. Everybody suddenly is going in different directions. But you don't realize that it's always about these 3 things: proximity, timing, and energy. And so it begs the question, why aren't you just best friends with everybody at work? Because from the age of 20 to 60, you'll spend more time at work with people than you will friends and family combined. Well, the reason why is timing. So if you're in your 20s at work and you work with people that are in their 50s, you may love these people and have great energy, but you're in a different time of life. Like, you know, my daughter's out partying and throwing up in a garbage can, and she comes in on a Monday. You know, she's not really going to click with people talking about what they did at the soccer field with their kids on the weekend. And that's why you can love people at work, but they're just not the best of friends. It's because it's about proximity. How close are they in front of your face or not? And are you in the same time of life? And this is also why I hate this trend. Got to break up with that toxic friend. No, you don't. Let them come in and out of your life. Let people get married. Let them have kids. Let them move out of the city. Let them come and go. Just because you don't see them doesn't mean you're not friends. What if you took a flexible approach and recognized that everybody you've ever met, unless you had some massive destructive falling out, everybody's still your friend. And your job isn't to sit back and be transactional and wait for them to reach out. If you want good relationships, it's not on them, it's on you.
Is there ever a time, though, that you say, no, I'm not going to let them. I'm not going to let that person treat me this way or do that thing. I'm not going with the flow here.
Okay, great. So, yes, all the time, I hope. Because you're going to say let them. So do you have an example?
Me.
This guy right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, in the past, I had worked with people who were terrible to be around every single day.
Okay.
It was terrible. And I used to think, okay, I'm just going to let this person do whatever they're going to do because I cannot control that.
Correct.
However, there were boundaries.
Yes.
Where it came to,
which is the boundary
like that. I'm not going to let you
Great.
talk
That's
to me like that.
the let me part. Because you can't ever control whether or not the words are going to come out in a particular tone. Let me is where you have to take the power back and ask yourself, how am I going to respond to this? And how you respond to things, especially when it's disrespect, is going to depend on a lot of things. It's going to depend on your energy today. It's going to depend on the situation that you're in. You get to choose. You get to choose if you speak up and be like, look, I realize you're stressed out, but you're going to have to apologize for how your stress is impacting me. You get to choose if you're going to go to HR. You get to choose if you're going to stay in that job because you have the power. It's not in managing them because they're not changing. And that's the let them part. It's not you saying, I'm just going to let them treat me like crap. No, they already are. I'm going to recognize this is who this person is. But now it's on me to hold a boundary and respect myself enough to either get out of this job or go to HR or call out the tone of voice and do what I need to do. See, I think this, if we extend it into dating, like one of the big crises in dating right now is that people explain away crappy behavior. Like people, like if you're going out on a date with somebody or if you're in a situationship and you're sleeping with somebody and they slink like a cat out the door in the morning, let them, because that's data. They're showing you they don't want to hang out with you. And you have to decide if this is attractive or what you deserve in your life. They're not the problem. You are if you allow it. And that's not victim blaming. It is a conversation about where's the control and the power. Most of us get in these relationships and we explain away the disrespect or we cling on to the fantasy and we don't look at the reality that we're in. And if you could look at people's behavior when they ghost you, when you have to chase them, like you inserting yourself into somebody's friend group and really thinking, oh, if I just hang around them more, maybe they're going to like me. No, they're already showing you they don't like you because all they do is text you. So let them text you and then take a step back and go, let me remind myself. It's up to me to decide if this is what I deserve.
Wow. This is sort of goes back to the theory we always talk about. Arranged marriages are actually sometimes a great thing because your friends and family know you and how you're going to totally be in denial with someone you're dating, but they see it. No, that's just another theory. There's something interesting going on here in the room, Mel. Danielle, of course, a huge fan of yours. But her husband Sheldon.
We fight over you.
They fight over in their own bed. They fight over who
in
knows
the bed?
you best.
Yes.
They fight over who knows you best.
You're the third party.
So Sheldon, you've been quiet and you've been just to yourself.
I have.
Unleash.
Well, here's the thing.
Yes.
For the last month, my wife Danielle has been peacocking around our house saying, oh, listen, I've found this new great person who's going to influence our life. I'm like, oh, great. Who's that? Mel Robbins. I'm like, really? Where you been? I said, I've been best friends with Mel Robbins in my head for 10 years. Can you tell me what the 3-2-1 method is of getting a better night's sleep? Can you do that?
No.
No? Exactly. And when was the last time you used the 5-4-3-2-1 method in actuality?
my
I know
God.
you read it, but have you done it?
No.
Well, I did it this morning. How about that? If I didn't want to get out of bed this morning, I simply imagine New Year's Eve and I'm counting down to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and there's 30 other people in my bedroom right now, and they're cheering for me to get out of bed.
But,
so why wouldn't I get out of bed with a pep in my
Okay.
step? So
Who's
I
winning
know
this?
these
Who's
things.
winning
But
this?
wait, the other day we were at a track meet and there was a guy and he was acting like a total ass, right? And I wanted to say something. I was ready. I had the words and I said, Mel said, let them. So I'm like, I'm just going to let them. So then we got in the car, and I started cursing the guy out in the car. And he turns to me, and he goes, what did Mel say?
Exactly.
I know, let them. So then I let them, and I actually did feel better. So I take credit for that, and I think I'm your friend more than he is.
So that we have that going.
I'll be both your friends. I'll let you both think whatever you want.
So they go on, and I just let them.
Yeah, just let them. It's
wanna go
adorable.
down-
Thank you.
I want to go down this. I just notes, okay?
Yeah.
From the let them theory, maybe as I see it, or maybe as you wrote it. Stop wasting energy on things you cannot control. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Break free from fear and self-doubt. Release the grip of people's expectations. Loving that. Build the best friendships of your life. We talked about that. Create that love you deserve. Pursue what truly matters to you with confidence. Build resilience against everyday stressors, distractions. Define your own path to success, joy, and fulfillment, and so much more. That's a tall order.
It sure is.
And it's in one book.
It is, because all you need is one tool. The only person that can keep you from what's meant for you in life is you. No other human being is blocking your way.
We are our own worst enemies.
Yes, but yeah, I didn't realize this till I was 54. Like I constantly let other people stress me out. I was constantly tired and overwhelmed and jealous and pissed off about stupid things, and then blaming my stress and my emotions on the world around me, constantly arguing about what's going on in the headlines, exhausted. It wasn't until I started to say those words, let them, that I erected a boundary between the outside world and how I was allowing it to stress me out and drain me. And once you stop draining yourself, you start to get your energy back. And you start to realize your time matters and your energy is everything. Your experience of life is determined by what you spend time on and what you pour energy into. Full stop.
Do you still have those days, though, where you're like, I can't do it today?
Of course.
How do you get yourself back on track?
Well, I let myself have that day. Like, so I think it's important, like, that there are times in life where the mentally healthy response, this goes to your question about sadness. There are times in life where it's important to just be down. There are times in life to recognize that things are very hard. But often when things are bad, you're still carrying the weight of how this is impacting other people. Like when you're down, like with a lot of people, my husband has struggled with depression, and a lot of what he felt other than that dark cloud was this sense of added shame that he wasn't able to show up in those moments for the family. You know, carrying this burden that somehow he is responsible for showing up a certain way because we need it. I wish we had let them, because it would give you the grace to be able to release the responsibility of everybody else so that you can actually take care of yourself. And let's look at the word responsibility. Responsibility is just the ability to respond. And life is going to be happening out there all the time. The headlines are going to be what they're going to be. People in your life are going to struggle. Jobs are going to come and go. The economy is going to go up and down. Let it. Your response to what's happening is everything. And in fact, you know, I spoke to Dr. Martin Luther King III and his wife, Andrea, during, when we were talking about this book. And it was incredible to hear him reflect, you know, this, Mel, is my father's legacy. That the power is in your response to what's happening. You get to choose peace. You get to choose what you fight for. You get to choose how you're going to show up in the face of things that seem dark. And so understanding that you have more power than you realize is a very incredible thing.
The power of the word no. Remember we used to preach that all the time.
It's a full sentence, remember?
Yeah, no is
learning.
a sentence years ago. And you gave me a hat that has the word no on it, which is my favorite hat to wear. But that was my first foray into like, okay, I do have the power to be in control here.
Yeah.
Say no. Saying no is just the most wonderful word.
Yeah, and then let them be disappointed.
Let them
misunderstand
and
it.
then we got to move on.
Okay. Yes, go.
Does this wear you out, by the way?
All these questions.
I mean, when you're done with this and these interviews, does she go to the car and just go, damn, I'm done?
Sit there in silence.
I'm going to take off my Spanx and just explode and just...
No, you know why? Because I just think it's incredible that we can have a conversation and somebody halfway around the world could get the one thing they needed to hear that could possibly change the trajectory of their life or the situation that they're in. Because I think what's standing in people's way most is discouragement.
Right.
The sense that it doesn't matter what you do. Nothing's going to change. And if there's anything that I hope to offer people, especially at a very dark moment, I really want to be a light that activates a sense of hope and encouragement in you. That yes, things can get better. And yes, there are things that you can do. And yes, it matters. It matters profoundly.
So this charges you up.
Oh,
this conversation.
Absolutely.
All right. Yes. Go ahead, Gandhi.
Okay, so you've obviously been very inspirational to so many people, and they're getting let them tattooed on them. I see a tattoo on your wrist. I can't read the entire thing. It says, "It shall
be."
What is it shall
It
be.
shall
It shall be.
What
so
does that mean
you and
to
I
you?
have the same, like
We in Bali?
Indonesia. Yeah.
Yeah, I got this in Bali.
Yeah. What it means is it's this ability to have faith in your. It shall be is a reminder in your ability to figure it out. Like I really do believe that. I think you can look backwards in your life and even the horrible things that happened that you didn't deserve. You can see how every twist and turn led you to where you are today. You can see the lessons in it. You can kind of understand how it shaped you and led you to this moment. It shall be, and this skill that I believe that everybody can learn is standing in this moment and actually doing that to the future.
Wow.
That this moment too is but a brick on the path of your life that is leading you somewhere. And you can stand in this moment, and even when it's devastating or heartbreaking or overwhelming and scary, that you can hold your own hand, so to speak, and remind yourself that this is but a moment. And some point in the future, there is such a bigger possibility that is waiting for you. And your job is not to doubt that. Your job is to trust that it is coming, and that at some point you'll look back and understand why this happened and what you learned from it, because it was preparing you for something bigger that was coming.
And that's why that tattoo is there to remind you.
Wow.
I like it.
You're my best friend who passed away. His line and his tattoo was just be. That's it. I think that's my first and only tattoo I'm going to get.
Wow.
Danielle.
I don't even know what to say. I love the book. It's great. It's so inspirational. I love I think a lot of younger people should read it as well. I think that
The people throwing up in trash cans?
Yes, people throwing up in trash cans. Well, because I know our son was just going through something, something similar to what.
Well,
your
we all
daughter-
do.
Yeah, and I think that he would take a lot from this book. So I don't think it's definitely geared to so many different people. 100%.
Mel, I cannot tell you how grateful I am that you spent time with us today.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
The Let Them
Thank you.
theory is out, of course. Why don't you be one of the billions of people who have made it the best-selling book
Well,
of
and here's
all
the thing:
time?
you don't even need to buy it. We just told you how to use it.
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
No, I'm serious. Like one of the greatest things about this book is people are not only reading it or listening to it, but then they are recommending it to their family. This is a book that will bring you closer to people because it gives you the power to shift how you show up and to truly create space for two things to be true at once. You can be who you are, other people can be who they are in their life, and you can learn how to really laugh about the things that annoy the hell out of you, but hold space and learn how to love somebody for exactly who they are instead of trying to change them. Like, that's the thing that I'm most excited about, is how this is really helping families. It's helping friendships. Like, that's the coolest thing in the world.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nothing from Sheldon?
I'm in awe. I'm thrilled to be here. I love the fact that this is a moment that I have pictured in my mind for many, many years, but you are exactly who I thought you would be. So thanks for everything you give to everyone.
Mel Robbins, of course, The Let Them theory. It's out. Go get it. Thank you, Mel.
The Mercedes-Benz Interview Lounge.